Jonathan Pezza is a TV writer and editor and creator of the Curious Matter Anthology podcast. I am not kidding when I say this guy has mad skills. I got to meet him at a recent podcast movement conference, and not only is he hella talented at all things multimedia, but he very generously shared a ton of knowledge and expertise with me as I followed him around like a lost puppy. His show, Curious Matter, is, on this September 10th, 2023, about to launch a Kickstarter for its third season. I've gotten some sneak peeks into the project, and I have to tell you, I am giddy, I say, for this thing to begin. Be sure you check out Curious Matter Anthology Season 3, The Exile, on Kickstarter. And stay tuned after this interview for Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, an adaptation of a short story by Kurt Vonnegut that will have you simultaneously glued to your chair and trying to escape out a window. My apologies for Zoe, my goofy dog, who decided she desperately needed to be part of this conversation. Enjoy. So, Jonathan, can you tell me, how do you decide what stories to anthologize?
Oh, man. It's a lot of reading. There are so many things out there. I'm always trying to find new stuff. I'm always trying to read through various different magazines, everything from like amazing stories to weird tales to like, now I can't even remember. Science fiction adventures is where the most recent one comes from. I'm constantly going through these books and just reading, and a lot of the stuff obviously isn't always that great, but then, something will like stick with you, and it's not always immediately apparent. I find that the stuff that I adapt, at least have adapted after the first season, has been things that like I didn't think were adaptable, but then something kind of like before you fall asleep, like you have that great idea, right? Like something about them just kept coming back, and then they kind of became inevitable. Like if I can't not make it, I choose it.
Nice. I like a challenge. Do you ever have fans saying, hey, why don't you do this one next? Do you ever have that happen?
No, I think people are actually pretty excited to see what it is we find and what it is we're bringing forward, because the story has to have a connective tissue to today. So it has to have something that makes it relevant to now, that you can bring that part of the conversation to the table, so that I, as the writer, get to, in my own brain, have a conversation with the original writer through the way it's made. I think that's part of what people dig about the show, but I think people are like to discover stuff the way I'm discovering stuff. So they haven't really been coming out and saying, do this or do that. But if you have any great stories, I'm always welcome. I will read them.
Awesome. Love it. All right. So this next question is kind of a two-parter. So why horror and science fiction? And have you had any thoughts of going outside those specific genres?
Well, originally, so there's like a pointy blue-eared elf ear on our thing, on our logo. Originally, it was gonna be sci-fi, horror, and fantasy, because those are the speculative fiction genres. All of these stories fall within the what if this existed, what if this happened. And so that to me is like, for me, the most enjoyable type of story. But then I quickly found, as I tried to adapt some fantasy content, was that you can't not have a narrator. You can't not describe what people are seeing. And part of our show being the conceit being that we're creating audio movies, I do not want a narrator whose job is there to tell you what you're seeing. I want the audience to experience it and be in the moment 100%. And I found that wasn't possible when I was trying to adapt fantasy, because I needed to describe things that just were undescribable with audio.
Right. Have you thought about going outside those genres to other things?
I mean, I am open to them. I'm open to anything. I love good dramas. I love a good spy thriller. There's a lot. I love the adventure genres. There are other genres that I really like and think that I'd probably be able to adapt or work in pretty well. But I think that this has been working and it takes up all my time. So there's very little time to actually experiment with those other genres yet.
Right.
But yes,
right.
I would love to.
Yeah, there's plenty of content out there still in just those two. So
Yes, there is. It's endless.
all right, why do you call your episodes movies?
Because I think that, well, I think when you make movies, you realize that half of cinema, or sometimes more than half of cinema, is sound. I don't remember who said it to me once, but when you take away a picture from a movie, you have an audio drama. When you take away the audio from a movie, you have surveillance. They don't they don't
That's
it's
brilliant.
they're not equal participants if you think about it that way. Yes, the visuals will do all these wonderful things and bring you to places and show you things you've never seen before. But we have that power within us as well. And so what I've tried to do is create stories that trigger your mind's eye to be the director, because we're all film aficionados, like the world, everybody. It is perhaps the shared language of the world. And so sound can allow people to be the directors of the movies that we're making. And that's why I call them audio movies, because you see them. I really believe that, like, what we're doing is different because you do see it.
Yeah, especially the way you've done it so immersively. It really builds a picture in your head in an extraordinary way. And I had an instructor in an audio design course who said, people will put up with crappy video, but they will not put up with crappy audio.
It's 100% true. Audio is the experience. The pictures, I mean, yeah, like I love movies. I do a lot of visual work, but the audio, I think once I realized the audio was what was speaking to me, to make a pun, is when I really made the breakthrough that this was the place for me to go to spend my energy.
Love it. And yay for us who get to listen to it. What's the most challenging part of adapting the stories?
Yeah, the most challenging part is figuring out what within the story is going to be the describer system. And so every of one of our adaptations is slightly different in what tool within the story communicates the extra information. Instead of a person saying, look there, that car, it's blue, it's going by, we find other ways to do that. In Second Variety, it was radio calls between the different Marines. And so they would communicate what other people were seeing, because that's the way people talk normally. In Uncanny Eddie Cobalt, it's a series of psychiatry sessions at the center of everything. So in Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which you guys are going to hopefully hear tonight, this was about being surrounded. And so the way you learn about the space around you is how many people are around you, and they're actually their extraneous dialogue in this, as they're all packed together, gives you the extra information. It's all hidden in that extra dialogue to a certain extent, so that you can figure out a lot of stuff without it actually being narration.
And the way you've designed it is really lends itself. I mean, it feels, as you listen, it just feels incredibly claustrophobic.
Yeah, I wanted you to feel like you could smell them.
Yes, you really get that feeling. It's just like, oh God, don't touch me. The whole thing, I was spending the entire time thinking, like, I caught myself cringing a little bit and holding myself closer so I wouldn't touch other people.
The hot swapping bunks and like the bathroom routine and just everything. Yeah, there's so much in there. One of the things about human space is that our relationships to others really inform how the space is used. And so like the fact that the grandfather like lords the TV over everyone, and everyone's like forced to sit around him, and that kind of like that space, you immediately understand the relationship that people are in this space, because that tells you so much about their environment.
Yes, and the fact that they're all stuck in there together, and yet they still have to find a way to be, sycophants to grandfather, even when they're just constantly under surveillance because they're in the same space. Like, that just sounds exhausting. It's so well done. It's so much fun.
I feel like it's really just like it's the total experience of COVID, funny
Mm-hmm.
enough. Like that
Mm-hmm.
was, I think I made that just as COVID was kind of coming at us, like before it really hit.
Wow.
And, and so I think that was like my fear of what was coming as I was like reading about China and as things were like starting to like to happen. And I
Oh.
was like, ooh, this is what it's going to be
Oh, man.
like. And then it
How
was like that.
prophetic. Yeah, how prophetic. And I'm hope you're all enjoying hearing my dog in the background. She's decided that now is when she's going to bark at the neighbors that are there all the time.
Your dog, my 5-year-old, it's all good. We'll just call it sound design.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. We were talking when you were interviewing me about, we have this wonderful fan organization, which is great, but part of it is because people really sort of latch onto these characters over time. And with your shorter stories that may be one episode or two or a season, do you miss out on that sort of strong character identification and loyalty?
I think we do, actually. I think that's been one of our biggest challenges and why growth has actually been relatively slow for us is I think because people do gravitate towards characters that they can come back to over and over again. And like we create a character that they'll love and then end it after 3 episodes generally, which is it's one of the reasons why this next season we're switching to a seasonal anthology so that we can create a story that's longer and let people spend more time with these characters.
Awesome and appreciated. So, Bob Raymonda of Windfall was recently telling a really wonderful story of a fan's experience with his show. What is your favorite fan story?
It's hard for us to do live shows. It's hard for us to interact with fans in like public spaces because obviously it was COVID for a long time. And now we're just, starting to hit stride for season 3. But really my favorite thing is that, anytime somebody's reached out or asked a question, it's often led to them being part of the show. We use so many cast members that people who reach out are in, like there's multiple people in the show that were just fans that said, "Hey, this is awesome. We really love this." And I said, "Awesome. Do you want to be in it?" I need more people.
Yep, been there. Yeah, that's awesome. It's one of my favorite things is just to find a way to sneak people in here and there and have them play a one-off character or whatever, and it's just so much fun, and occasionally they stick long term. So in this episode, which people are about to hear, it's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by one of my favorite authors, Kurt Vonnegut Jr. Do you ever feel intimidated adapting the works of, big names like Vonnegut, or does this feel like you're creating something entirely new?
No, I mean, yes, I feel like there is a responsibility if you're going to take on a writer as beloved as Vonnegut or as Philip K. Dick. You have to do your homework. You have to understand a little bit about them, and you have to understand how their stories kind of relate to each other, because the more you understand about their intentions and the way they were writing it and their mindset, the better you are at adapting it in a way that feels like it's right. And so that's a big deal for me. I wouldn't say it scares me, but it does drive me to like not always take the easy answer.
And it really shows. I mean, as a huge Vonnegut fan who owns and has read multiple times everything he's written, I can say, at least for me, this feels very Vonnegut, and it feels both respectful of his vision, but also an update. It just feels very prescient in ways that are terribly frightening. And I think that's both Vonnegut's gift and yours.
Thank you. I mean, for this one, part of the research was like watching his seminar series, any video or interview of him, so that one, you could understand the way he speaks, because one thing I've learned is that you can understand a writer's writing better if you understand how they speak to other people verbally. And so once you hear that cadence, once you understand that pattern, you can you're much better at understanding how to take what they're doing and understand it, because that cadence informs the rhythm of the writing.
Yes.
And then, so for me, it was once I understood that, and I understood what the concerns were about the world and the way he thinks, or at least the way he spoke about some of this stuff, that made me go, oh, okay, so we can take these ideas, we can connect them with now, because he doesn't have the benefit of being able to tell us how he feels now, but I think he would feel very strongly.
Oh yeah.
And so I think he would have a lot to say. And so that was part of why, like, every aspect of the story, every little nuance that was in the short story, when it gets developed into something larger, there was a nugget there from the way he spoke about different things, like everything from prisons to culture in general, to mass media, to war, like all of those things, like, played into, like, what ultimately became the decisions I made.
His constant and tortured love-hate relationship with the human race is very much reflected in all of these characters, and I feel like that's so true to him. And also his idea of, he was very concerned about climate change and overpopulation and all those things, and it just, you can feel all of that coming to a head in this sort of apocalyptic post-war universe we've got here.
There's a saying that I cannot remember, so I'm not going to try to paraphrase it, that he had, but ultimately it dealt with the irony of humanity, the irony of our inability to get out of our own ways, and, like, the boxes we create around us, the limitations we create around us. And so, that to me was like a driving factor. Like, you could just like, this story specifically, he wrote it twice. He forgot to copyright it twice, but he wrote it twice. Yeah. But all's the better for being able to adapt it. Because, and he wrote another story called To Be R and To Be that was also dealt. They likely were in the same world. I mean, Vonnegut, he wrote so much, he spoke so much, and so much of his writing intermingled with other parts of his writing. To Be R and To Be is another story in this that the two of them seem to be in the same world. Actually, I forget whether I did this or whether it was actually there, but I think I think I carried over a character. God darn it, I don't even remember now if I did it or if he did it. But when I read them and understood that they were so connected, either he wrote a character that crosses over into this, or I adapted a character that crossed over into this because there was something similar there. I got to go back and look.
Have you done the other one?
These things all blend. I have not adapted it, but I did read it on my other podcast, Pulp, which kind of, I just ran out of time to do it. But I had been doing this other podcast, Pulp, because it was like, well, if I read a story that's, like, maybe interesting, I'll just do an audiobook version of that story because I read it. Like, as I'm working on this project, I read it, so, like, I might as well read it out loud.
Nice.
And then it just became too much time for this. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. Probably not.
You did, totally. You are both a gifted writer and an amazing sound engineer. Dear God, I am so envious of your talents. Do you divide those skills when you're working? Are you just in editor mode or just in writer mode, or does each role, like, eavesdrop or backseat driver when the other one is working?
I think I approach each role as independently of the others as I can. I think there's a saying in filmmaking that you get to make the movie 3 times. Like, if you're a writer, director, editor, you get to make the movie, you get to write it once, direct it once, that's a whole different movie, and then edit it. And since I come from an editing background in film and television, that ability to turn your brain off and forget all about the intentions that existed prior and just try to be objective again, I will throw out whole scenes. I really will gut my own work in the editorial process if it's not working once it's staged. And so
that's great.
You have to you have to be willing to do that, because, or you hire someone who's willing to do that for you. That's, I mean, ultimately what every great filmmaker does, is that they are smart enough. Are smart enough to hire someone who's objective at each stage, you know?
I think, I hate to say it this way, but you kind of have the luxury of being able to turn off your sound engineer when you're in writer mode because you know you can make those sounds. Some of us are like, yeah, I have no idea how I'm going to make that sound, so I'm just gonna wormhole through the fight scene and say, and now the fight scene's over, so that I don't have to do those sounds.
From writing standpoint, I mean, I think you're always searching for tools in the story that cross over sound. Like in Tomorrow, it's, the AI assistant in the house and the way the house chimes and the way different things talk to you, the way the TV works,
Right.
the way those different things are actually selling the story is a writing job. And then that if you haven't written this for audio and written this to specifically work in this medium, then it's going to either be lacking those things when you get to edit, or it's going to require another element to be added at that stage. I'll say this: I write trusting that the audio will do the job that I write for it on the page. I don't know if that's true until I get to the edit and actually try to do it. And a lot of stuff gets revised. A lot of stuff gets restaged when something doesn't work, or some magical thing does work, and then all of a sudden it becomes a tool. Just write for audio.
It's a hella skill set you've got. Next question. We are both members of the Fable and Folly Network. What prompted you to join?
I'd heard wonderful, wonderful things. And from Carlotta Botox, I had met a few years ago, and she had just spoken so highly of Fable and Folly, and she was one of, I think, the inaugural creators for the network. And we were with Realm last season, and it didn't fit very well. And so talked to Sean and discovered that Fable and Folly was so wonderfully different and so wonderfully open. We made the jump. Fable and Folly is the only one still dedicated 100% to fiction. I mean, that takes dedication in itself. So
It really does. Yeah, it's a little bit of an uphill battle, but Sean's willing to fight it, and the whole crew over there at Fable and Folly is taking it on our behalf. I'm really enjoying seeing my dog bark on my recording screen because there's these little humps.
nice. She gets a credit.
All right. So, final question. Well, probably, unless I think of other things I want to ask you, which is entirely possible. So, you recently announced the start of season 3. And what do people have to look forward to?
Ooh. Yeah. So it's been a snowballing endeavor. Like it started tiny, alone in a basement room with doing all the voices in episode 1, and it has grown each step. And now we've gotten really lucky in that the cast and the people that have really put their trust in me has expanded to really great ways. And so it put a lot of pressure on me for this next season to try to do something to honor that. The Exile is going to be exceptional. It's going to be so fun because the cast that we're going to be bringing, we've got Colin Ferguson back. Tiffany Smith is starring as Bryce, our main character. It's just going to be amazing. Allison Hayslip, Sandeep Parikh is back, and he's been one of our first great super supporters. And the team that is involved this season is wonderful, and we're going to be announcing more cast over the coming weeks. Our Kickstarter actually starts in just about a week.
Nice.
On September 12th. Please come out. Please support us. You can find us at cmanthology.com, or you can search us out on Kickstarter under Curious Matter Anthology Season 3. We are going to try to raise money to do this pretty big thing. We have this unbelievable composer lined up to give us our first original score for the season.
Awesome.
We are going to be creating a whole world this time around. We've been in localized spaces, and I mean, Star Hunter was pretty big, but it was definitely a small perspective as they kind of adventured through the woods. This is going to feel like you get to move to Mars, and you get to be part of the people who helped to terraform it and turn it into the next home for humanity. It's going to be
fabulous.
Pretty fun.
Yeah. Can I say that you gave me a sneak peek at the Kickstarter video, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
And the music is amazing, and it's gorgeous, and I'm super excited for you guys. It's so cool.
Well, everyone will be able to see it. We're going to be sending it everywhere. We're going to be posting it every possible place we can post it, starting on September 12th. Yeah, so please, if you hear this, go to cmanthology.com or go to Kickstarter. Sign up ahead of time because if you are getting our posts through Kickstarter, you're going to get some really cool exclusive stuff just there, like behind the scenes and really cool like personalized videos and other things. So definitely sign up early.
cmanthology.com or Curious Matter
Yes.
Anthology on Kickstarter. Season 3.
Yeah, you can search us. If you search The Exile or you search Curious Matter Anthology, it'll come up.
Okay, check it out, folks. We need to get this sucker funded because it just looks amazing. I am super excited. And I just realized I did skip one question, so I do have one more question.
Okay.
Question 5. You have some incredible voice actors. As you're choosing stories to adapt or as you're adapting them, are you adapting them for particular people, or like what's chicken, what's egg here, or is it just bloody good luck and it all just works out in scrambled eggs and fried chicken? Zoe!
I don't think I've...
Sorry.
It's okay, Zoe. It's okay. Up until this season, I haven't had the luxury to do that ahead of time. So I was generally writing before I knew who my cast was. Mm-hmm. And then obviously when you have someone like Colin Ferguson or Tiffany Smith or Sandeep Parikh, you adjust it. You adjust the dialogue, and make sure that it fits right and that it works from their soul, from their mouths.
Right.
And so you're always adjusting. But yeah, I don't this season though, I was lucky enough to be collaborating with Tiffany Smith all the way through the process of kind of creating this. So we've talked a lot about the character. We've talked about a lot of things, and this character is very much specifically written for her.
Perfect. Oh, so exciting. And it's called The Exile?
Yes.
Awesome. So everybody make sure that you go and subscribe to Curious Matter Anthology right now on your podcast app of choice and sign up for the Kickstarter. I'm actually going to go do that as soon as we hang up. So I get all the goodies and all the talk. So super excited. Stay tuned for Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Originally by Kurt Vonnegut and adapted for audio by Jonathan Pezza. Thank you, Jonathan. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for this. This has been amazing.
Thank you again to the awesome Jonathan Pezza for hanging out with me at the conference and here on Zoom. Do please find Curious Matter, subscribe to the show, and get on the Exile Kickstarter ASAP. Up next, hear the first part of Jonathan's audio adaptation of Kurt Vonnegut's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Catch you next time, Space Monkeys.
Welcome to episode 11 of the Curious Matter Anthology. I'm Jonathan Pezza, the creator and host of the series. This episode is the first in our two-part season finale. Our final tale of the season is all about family, crammed into a very small apartment together for what may be an endless amount of time, while the rich and empowered minority control virtually everything. Sound familiar? Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is adapted from a short story written by one of the most renowned humorists in American literature, Kurt Vonnegut Jr. During his career, Vonnegut published 14 novels, 3 short story collections, and 5 plays, but he is most known for his novel Slaughterhouse-Five or The Children's Crusade, A Duty Dance with Death. His stories combine satire, science fiction, and an anthropologist's ability to analyze culture.
As he would say in interviews, he liked to think he looked at the world like a visitor from Mars, as if he were an outsider observing how odd and ironically self-destructive those wacky human beings can be. Many of his stories had more than one title, and ours today is no different. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow originally went by the title Big Trip Up Yonder in its 1954 release within the pages of Galaxy Science Fiction magazine, but it was later changed in 1961 with its release in the collection Canary in a Cat House. Our story takes place 130 years after humanity has achieved immortality through the advancements of medicine. Vonnegut's dark sense of humor was inspired by the then and still popular opinion that science and new technologies are the key to solving all our ills. The technocracy, as he called it, where that next invention waiting just over the horizon, that next doodad, gadget, or pill, no matter how much it might cost, would finally provide us with that ever-elusive thing. Happiness. This episode of Curious Matter is rated explicit and includes adult language. Our show is designed to be a completely immersive HD audio experience and is at its best when played through high-quality stereo speakers or headphones. So grab your popcorn, turn out the lights, and enjoy our presentation of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, Part 1.
How would you like to live forever? No, that isn't a rhetorical question. Thanks to breakthroughs in DNA editing and the revised Affordable Care Act of 2051, one simple jet injection a day freezes aging in its tracks. Fear wrinkles and the ravages of cellular degeneration no more. With anti-gerasone, immortality is one small monthly payment away. Or better yet, consider our yearly, decade, centennial, or infinity discount plans. Life is a gift worth keeping, and now you can. Anti-gerasone. With anti-gerasone.
Good morning, Lewis. I trust you and Emma enjoyed your stay in the conjugal suite. This is your 2-minute warning. Hannah and Michael are scheduled for the next shift. Please deposit your bedclothes in the automated receptacle.
Thanks, Law.
Blue, I think.
Morning, Blue, what?
The curtains in Cramp's room. When it's ours, I mean.
I wish you wouldn't do that.
Do what?
Fantasize about grandfather's death.
Lou, I'm not fantasizing. Okay, maybe I am fantasizing, but things can't go on like this forever. You already keep this family from tearing itself apart. It's going to be our time eventually. It just has me thinking.
I just woke up. Can we save the Access Edition till after breakfast?
1 minute.
We should get up. The newlyweds have the next shift.
Ken and Mike are back on the list. Law. How was grandfather today? Mood query.
You are not authorized for that information.
Since when?
Time's up, old man.
Time is indeed up. Please vacate the conjugal suite.
Come on. You know how long we've had to wait for our turn in the fuck box?
Sorry, Lou. She's just excited. Gramps took our conjugal rights for 3 weeks, and this is our first night off his shit list.
It's alright, Mike. It's all yours.
Enjoy yourselves. Just maybe quieter this time if you expect to keep your privileges, Hannah.
Yeah. Get in here, stud.
Ooh.
Come on, lover boy. Time to shit shower and shovel down some good old almost eggs.
You see where we are on the list today? He bumped us to 17 and 18. Gramps was on a tear last night, apparently.
Shit. That means we're moving to second.
Hon, where are my pants?
Did you check your locker?
Of course I checked the locker. Where else would I keep them? It's the only place I'm allowed to put anything.
Oh, there's Dana. I want to catch her before she hits the bunk.
Okay, see you at breakfast.
Mwah.
Hey, Dad.
Morning, Eddie.
How was your night in the closet?
Paradise as ever.
Hey,
Have you checked the will yet this morning?
Why? Should I be worried?
Just, you should check it, Dad.
What could that be about? Law, permission for shower access. Daily ration, please.
Permission granted. Your 3-minute water ration begins now.
Law, how many changes did Gramps make last night?
There have been 46 revisions by Harold Sr. to the Ford family will and constitution in the last 8 hours.
46? Jeez, he's been busy. What are my changes?
Lewis Ford, Generation 3, first descendant. Born February 14th, 2065. Age 152. Son of William Ford, deceased.
Just jump to the inheritance ranking, please.
As the Ford family virtual government, lawyer, and assistant AI, it is my duty to inform you that as of 0-100 today, you are inheritance rank 32.
What? But
1 minute of water ration remaining.
that's impossible! That's the bottom of the list!
Lewis Ford, inheritance rank 32, confirmed. I thought it best to wait until after you'd had your breakfast, sir, before informing you. But due to your new rank, you'll be moving to 3rd shift, bunk 10. Their sleep session has
I
just...
can't move to 3rd shift.
According to the Ford constitutional bylaws, the 12 lowest ranking
I don't
descendants...
care.
Your water ration is complete. Shall I dry you?
Law. TV.
Good morning, Harold. I trust you slept well. Shall I cue up last night's episode of Survivor?
Tonight, on the 221st season of Survivor, our 85 castaways face a challenge unlike any other before. Martian sandstorms.
They did that 100 years ago. Next.
Previously on Decades of Our Lives.
You poisoned his anti-gerasone.
And I do it again. I'm carrying his child.
You slept with your great-great-grandson? How could you?
He was a liar. He wasn't my great-grandson at all. He was my long-lost twin brother.
Next. They recycled this plot from 100 years
Here
ago.
to speak in opposition of recent legislation proposing the further expansion of senior familius rights.
Can I just stop you right there? I'm going to stop you right there. These people are anarchists, plain and simple. Criminals and terrorists. They want to destroy 130 years of prosperity.
Prosperity? The population just broke 40 billion. That's one person for every 8 square meters of planet surface. Living like sardines, the McCloud Act
He's been
effectively
saying
handed
that
out
for
wealth and
100 years.
prosperity to the 0.01% who act like autocratic, tyrannical dictators who control the lives of everyone.
Why? Why did you do it?
Pause.
Yes, sir.
Who is that?
Lewis, sir.
What's going on?
I think Lou just heard he got dumped to the bottom last night.
Well, this is gonna be delicious.
Grandfather,
I'm trying to eavesdrop.
I demand to know why.
What's he talking about?
Why did you do it?
You demoted him to the bottom of the list, sir.
I cook for you. I take care of you. I do all the family accounting, and I love you. I look out for this family. Why would you do this to me?
Remind me, Law.
You disinherited and demoted him for breaking Amendment 6.
Which one is that?
Birthdays, sir.
Right. Law. Read the 6th Amendment of the Ford Family Constitution. For everyone to hear.
The Ford Family Constitution reads as follows. As hereto set forth on June 7th, 2111, and to be upheld by the law of senior familiars. Birthdays, and their celebration, shall henceforth be forbidden.
That clear enough for you?
No.
Law. Play back the recording.
Should we do something for Gramps' 200th birthday?
Birthdays are forbidden, hun.
It's just an idea. I think I'm gonna splurge and get a real flower cake. Just a little one. I mean, it'll cost a fortune, but 200 is a big deal. It'll be a surprise. Besides, it's not like he's recording us in here. It's a conjugal suite.
Play it again.
Yeah, so it'll be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise.
No.
Silence! The next one of you who opens up his big bazoo is gonna be at the bottom right next to him.
I just wanted to do something nice for once.
Surely there's an exception for that. Law, remind my great-grandson how things work around here.
Grandson.
There are no exceptions. Rules are happiness.
For who?
And here comes the Veil of Tears.
I've had many heartbreaks in this life, ere leaving this Vale of Tears for a better land. But the deepest hurt of all has been dealt me by you. Law, remove all permissions.
Come on. Wake up, baby. Time to wake up. Lou.
What happened? How did I get in the kitchen?
You fainted.
We dragged you out.
Uncle Lou is waking
Your
up.
eyes rolled back and everything.
Here's some water, Uncle Lou. Drink this.
Thank you.
Can you give us some room here? Please. Give the man an inch or two to breathe.
How could you put us in a situation like this? You've been his heir at the top of the list since your father decided to take the big trip. We were set to inherit everything.
I know.
Do you know how long I've been dreaming about a night in the bedroom? It's not like the old man can last much longer. A full-sized bed all to ourselves. A private bathroom with an actual bathtub. A fucking bathtub!
I know.
We were going to live like royalty, like Queen Charlotte in the goddamn Buckingham flat, and now that's all flushed down the toilet. Why? Because you wanted to bake a friggin' birthday cake.
I'll just have to work my way back into his graces. He can't stay mad at me forever.
Yes, he can. Just look at Allie and Matt. That was 75 years ago.
That was different. I mean, they're cousins.
Why won't he just give it up already? Let nature take its course like most of the first gens did years ago. He was already 70 when AG came out.
Who'd want to spend forever trapped in that wrinkled ballsack of a body?
He'll stop taking the AG when he's ready. He said he'll do it after the Solar 500.
And before that, it was the NASCAR Cup and the Olympics. It's always something.
He's always wanted to be a racer. He just gets excited about these events. That's all he has, really.
You better pray he promotes you again. Otherwise, your sister is going to get the bedroom. You should have seen the smug look on her face in the breakfast line.
I'll figure out something.
Sorry to interrupt.
Nope, you're fine, hun. What's up?
I know that this isn't a good time, but the AG kiosk is acting up again.
Again? I'll take a look at it.
Shouldn't Jojo handle that?
Why? Oh.
Gramps promoted your sister.
Great.
So, should I tell Jojo?
I'll handle it.
But
I said I'll handle it.
Anti-Jerison.
Lewis Ford. Identity accepted. Please insert your arm to administer dosage.
Seems like it's working fine. Here we go.
Error. Patient has already received dosage. Please remove your arm from the machine.
What?
Error. Dose not administered. Please reinsert your arm to administer dosage.
Okay.
Error. Patient has already received dose. Please remove your arm from the machine.
Gosh darn it. I told Gramps we needed to replace this damn thing 30 years ago.
How may I help you, Lewis?
I need to put in a requisition for a repairman to come take a look at this thing. Today. It's broken. Again.
As of 0815, you no longer have authorization to make requisitions.
Fine. Can I put in a request for a requisition with Jojo?
You do not have authorization for requests.
What am I authorized for?
You do not need permissions to send holomojis.
Exclamation point, exclamation point, anti-Jerison symbol, broken glass, skull and crossbones. Send.
Sent. You have a response.
Why didn't it just pop up?
You don't have holovid viewing privileges.
Can you just read it to me?
Jojo's response was question mark, ellipses, blowing raspberries. May I suggest you return to your assigned bunk?
I just woke up. I need to talk to Jojo.
Third shift is currently in its assigned sleep cycle. Failure to return to the bunk room for sleep may result in...
I said I'm fine.
As you wish. Log.
Law.
You know, you are looking at this thing all wrong, Great-Great-Uncle Lou.
Morty, if you're waiting for your dose, the damn machine's on the fritz again.
Nah, got mine already. But like I was saying, you're looking at this the wrong way.
Yes, I know. I've tried to convince Grandfather that we need a new machine, but he just won't budge.
No. What I mean is it's time for Gramps to take the big trip. Whether he wants to or not.
Shh! What are you doing? Do you know what could happen?
Relax. I temporarily disabled Law's sensors in here.
You what?
Quiet, man. You want the whole apartment to know?
What do you mean you disabled Law? How is that even possible?
There's a lot of things possible when you're willing to go outside the box.
What are you saying?
It's time for Cramps to move on. Buy the farm. Make a little more room for those of us in line. Slowly, of course. Just gotta turn off the fountain of geriatric eternity and let him age his way into the great beyond. You know it's what you want to happen. If you're being honest.
Morty, I need to go.
Aren't you sick of living like this? I mean, on top of each other? Sleeping when he says, where he says? Taking a shit when he says? Forced to hot swap bunks like a damn submarine, all while the old man lives like a king off a fortune he's had 2 centuries to build. And all of us serving his every whim. For what? Soy eggs?
No. Just no. Gramps loves us.
Really? Even after making you wallow with us 7th gens?
Look, it's complicated. Whatever you did to Law, put it back the way it was. I'm gonna make sure Jojo gets a repairman out here today.
See, I can't have you do that. I'm not done yet. There were some complications.
You tampered with the kiosk? Are you insane?
Insane as this. Forever. You had a career, a life. For us younger generations, all we've known is the cane on our necks. I know you, Lou. You actually care about us.
Gramps cares. It's hard to see sometimes. Look, I won't tell anyone about this. Just put it back.
Even now you'll defend him. I just need another day, and then I'll have it all ironed out, nice and clean, and the old man goes quietly into the great beyond, just like nature intended. Change is coming.
Welcome back to the Utopia Planitia 500. Buck Triple is in first with 60 laps to go in his signature 9 ship.
That's right, Frost. And what an exciting
I wish you'd watch something else, or better yet, let someone else pick something.
Gramps fell asleep half an hour ago.
NASA is the worst. Who wants to watch spaceships fly around in circles all day? All they ever do is...
Shut it. Can't a man watch in peace?
Excuse me, sir.
Law, how's it hanging?
Virtually, sir. I need to bring something to your attention.
What have these ingrates done now?
The anti-gerasone kiosk appears to be malfunctioning again. Jojo had me place an order for a technician who should be arriving shortly.
The pariah has been pestering me for a new one for years. Maybe it's time we finally switch it out.
Perhaps, but that's not the only reason for my interrupting you.
Spit it out.
I'm worried about morale, sir. Your recent changes have been unnerving. Lewis being demoted to the bottom has everyone on edge. Tensions have been on the rise for some time. As you know, in high-density households, structure and stability are the foundations of happiness.
Spare me the lecture.
As you say, sir.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's time for a little vacation. Raise their spirits, rebuild the esprit de corps.
Perhaps that's wiser.
Put some options together.
Right away, sir.
Cheap options. someone get the damn door? There's 33 people in the apartment. You'd think someone could get it on a first ring.
I'll get it.
Psst. Jojo.
What are you doing skulking in the recycling nook? Shouldn't you be asleep?
I just wanted to see if you needed help. These service technicians can be a little tricky to handle.
If you could do it, I'm sure I'll manage.
I'm just trying to help.
Well, don't. I know what you're doing. Trying to weasel your way back in.
That's not it at all.
Get the fucking door.
I need to get this, and you need to be somewhere else. 1 second.
Anti-Gerasone service.
Thanks for getting here so quickly. The kiosk started acting up this morning. Nobody has been able to get a dose.
This is the Ford Residence, Building 257 of Alden Village, New York City, in the state formerly known as Connecticut.
Yes.
Oh, fancy digs. Owned it long?
My grandfather bought it in the 50s.
Jeez, must be worth a mint. 1 bedroom?
2? 950 square feet.
We got a regular family of Musks here.
Can I show you the machine?
Hey!
Someone's in a hurry.
These rich types probably worried if she doesn't get a dose, a wrinkle might form.
Can't have that.
Got some forms first.
Got to fill out the forms.
All the forms.
Nothing gets done without the forms.
Oh, okay. Oh, of course.
Okay, let's see. You're Louis J. Ford, age 152. Oh, looks like you got on the AG train early. You barely look 30.
That's my brother, actually.
So you're not the authorized signatory?
The family made a few organizational changes today. I'm happy to help you.
That's gonna be a problem.
Big problem.
No one filed a 605B/Z change of authorized signatory form.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm very new to requisitions.
Not our problem.
We can come back when you've submitted the correct forms.
No.
Can't be helped.
1 second, please.
We'll give you 6. Because, customer service is our focus at Anti-Gerasone Inc.
Law.
How may I help you, Jojo?
Do I have authorization to temporarily reauthorize looter requisitions?
Yes.
Make the authorization and get him over here.
Will do, ma'am.
I'm here. I was eavesdropping?
Louis! Long time, how's it been?
Same old. Orion and Tallulah, right?
Love this guy.
Come on in.
Let's run the profile checklist, forms.
Whatever you need.
Harold Ford Sr., the account holder.
Grandfather, AGX Premium.
Big spender. William Ford.
Dad, deceased. Took the big trip 25 years ago. We filed a D3-4D.
Must be a mix-up on our end.
We'll get that cleared right up. Kimberly Ford.
Mom, generic for her and the rest of us.
And Louis Ford. That's you. How about Emerald Ford?
My wife.
Jojo?
Me.
Authorized personnel only.
Everyone else should just be the same?
I guess we can cut a few corners.
Yeah, it's Lou.
Lou.
Okay, so let's just look here. Liam Ford, then Eddie Ford, Sarah Ford, Melvin Ford, Laura Ford, Katherine Johnson, Deshaun Johnson.
And then there's Allie Noty, Harold 2, Harold 3. Someone was sucking up.
You know how it is.
Don't I ever. There's so many Tallulahs in my apartment, we could field a baseball team.
Kevin Argos, all the other Notys, Matilda, Matt, Tom, Priyanka, and George. And then there's Lola Appleby, Jackson Appleby, Morty Ford, Dana Johnson, Wu, G Fun. Did I get that right?
We participated in the International Family Exchange in the 21s.
Patrick Wu, Vera Mulray, and finally Hannah Mulray Schreck. That's everyone, right?
You missed Mike Schreck, my great grandnephew-in-law. Just married. Form should have been in there already.
Oh, here he is.
There's only 33 of you?
Yeah, just us.
How do I marry into this family? All this space. So, what seems to be the problem?
I think the kiosk is broken.
Remoting it now.
Sir, you have another hollow message. It's from Morty.
Read it, please.
It reads, I warned you. Skull and crossbones. Noose. Kissy face.
We have an FU-1000 alarm.
Confirming FU-1000. Lock this place down.
Lockdown. Per Article 18 of the McLeod Act, this home is now under government lockdown for attempted forced aging. Lockdown. Per Article 18 of the McLeod Act, this home is now
What's
under
all this
government lockdown
racket
for
about?
attempted forced
Law,
aging.
shut that alarm the hell up.
We have been placed on lockdown, sir. Silencing alarm.
Are you the senior familius and head of the household?
I'm Harold Ford. What the hell is all this about?
Sir, we've detected an incursion into your anti-Gerasone kiosk.
Someone hacked in.
They attempted to sabotage your doses, sir.
Someone in your home is trying to kill you.
Slowly.
Who?
Looks like the initial login that attempted to upload the malware was one Louis Ford.
Lou, you tried to kill your own grandfather?
What? No!
Says it was you, right?
Right there.
No, you don't understand.
Cold, man.
Super cold.
No one is safe.
Should I call the authorities and press charges, sir?
So you tried to bump me off, huh?
I would never. You have to believe me.
I'd never have thought you had it in you.
Come on. That guy couldn't kill a big I always knew he'd snap. What have you done?
I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe for free on the platform of your choice and rate us with 5 stars today. If you like the podcast, leave us a review or connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook under the handle @CMAnthology. This episode was dramatized, directed, and edited by me, your host, Jonathan Pezza. Story consultation by Tom Gray. I want to say a huge thank you to our cast throughout the season who have worked so hard and given up so much time to help make this show. You guys have been amazing. Our ensemble cast self-engineered their recordings from home and included the talented voices of Adam Briggs as both Lou Ford and Harold Gramps Ford, Alexandra Littler as Law, Amy Vorpal as M, Sandeep Parikh as Morty, Philip Gray as Eddie, Melissa Starr as JoJo, Bobby Thomas as Orion, Kelly Dawn Hancock as Tallulah, Ali Rivera as Catherine, Jason Irvin as Kevin, Tien Nguyen as Hannah, Jeremy Pezza as Mike, Tara Strand as Dujon, Elizabeth Wilcox as Matilda, Tom Gray as Harold II, and Haley Pezza as Sarah. The score was provided by Epidemic Music. Sound effects were provided by Soundsnap.com. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and The Big Trip Up Yonder are works in the public domain, and this episode was produced in accordance with U.S. copyright law. Curious Matter is a production of Jonathan Pezza Inc., copyright 2021, all rights reserved. If you have a question or feedback, or you just want to write and say hello, I'd love to hear from you. So reach out to Jonathan at CuriousMatterPodcast.com or check us out online for more information at www.CuriousMatterPodcast.com. We normally dedicate each episode to a used bookstore, but this week we're going to take the time to once again try and let people know about resources out there that can help them cope with the continuing mental health effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's easy to feel lonely and isolated in these times. If you or someone you know is struggling, you are not alone. There are many organizations, services, and treatment options out there that may help. Please consider reaching out to some of the amazing resources available, like the National Alliance on Mental Illness Helpline. Their number is 800-950-6264. That's 800-950-6264. You can also find them online at NAMI.org. That's NAMI.org. Additionally, you can find the link to NAMI as well as many other mental health resources on our COVID-19 mental health resources page on our website at www.CuriousMatterPodcast.com. Coming up next on our final episode of the season, jump back into the Ford apartment for the conclusion of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. You won't want to miss it. So make sure to subscribe for free today, and thank you for listening.